Divorce is one of the most challenging transitions in life, and without the right guidance, it can quickly turn into a disaster. Welcome to Dodging Divorce Disasters, the show that helps you navigate the legal, financial, and emotional pitfalls of divorce before they happen. In each episode, I sit down with a top professional in the divorce community to hear real-life war stories, cautionary tales from the trenches of divorce. But I won't leave you with just the horror stories. The experts will break down exactly what went wrong and, more importantly, how you can avoid making the same mistakes. Whether you're in the early stages of separation, deep in the process, or supporting someone through it, we are here to help you move forward with clarity, confidence, and fewer regrets. I'm your host, Lori Hawkins, and I am a local expert in divorce real estate. I am so excited to be sharing these incredible professionals with you. Let's dive in. I am so thrilled today to have Paula Lesso on here with us. I want to make sure I get her title right. She is a divorce recovery and reinvention coach. Now, I love that. So I want to hear more about that. So just to let everybody know, I don't know, has it even been a year that we've been introduced? Maybe almost coming up on it. We were introduced through a mutual friend that also does real estate, and she knew that both of us was in the divorce niche, and so she introduced us. So I'm very grateful for that. So before we hop into everything, tell us what your company name is. Tell us what exactly a divorce recovery and reinvention coach does, and where you practice your job. How do you reach people?
So my company name is Personal Journey Coaching. We're all on a personal journey, no matter what that is, throughout our life, especially divorce. We're on that personal journey. Nationally, I do this in person or on Zoom, whatever works for the client. And it's a lot of referrals is how my business comes about.
So someone doesn't have to be local in the Charlotte area or anything like that to be able to use you, because you can do it. Okay. Well, that's great. Well, I continue to learn new things about you all the time. I read that you are a CrossFit junkie, which I think that's an oxymoron. I don't think there's such a thing as that. And you also are a competitive triathlete. I mean, I don't even know if I can do one push-up. I am so highly impressed. Tell us a little bit about that.
A friend introduced me to CrossFit, and I wanted to get toned up, and I just started it and loved it because it's different movement all the time. Everything else right now doesn't fit, but this does. And I tried a triathlon and loved that. But the thing about CrossFit that did get me going was it got me running, and I love to run. Just the movement. For me, it's expanding that energy, and that's what gets me, it's kind of my joy. I mean, it really is. And the music, I have to have high energy music. It keeps my legs moving. Good. But then in my mind, I've been able to figure things out and write blogs. I mean, it's just something.
It kind of gives you some clarity.
It does.
When you're running. Did you run before you started this? Were you a runner?
No.
That is amazing. So it's not too late for all of us.
Right.
I just can't. I used to run way back in the day, but I cannot even imagine right now. A good walk. We can do a good walk, but not a run.
Yes. And sometimes that's what I'll have my clients do. Don't be surprised if every once in a while I have them get out and walk. When you're really in the muck, in the mire, sometimes that really does clear your mind. Because I'll always say, well, when you move your body, you move your life.
Well, and I kind of saw one of the things you had written too was that movement is a big part of your coaching approach. So you're kind of covering that. And I mean, it does make sense. And it does give you a sense of As much as you don't think about it, clarity, I guess that is the right word, because you can kind of focus. It just seems like you can focus on one thing, especially if you are listening to something, whether it's a podcast or whatever it is, an audiobook, whatever it is, everything else kind of melts away. Plus you're kind of getting your body moving and stuff. So I completely understand that. Well,
Yeah.
one of the things that I like to do on this podcast, which is why we call it Dodging Divorce Disasters, is that everybody that I speak to that works in the divorce field in some way, whether it's coaching, attorneys, real estate, whatever it is, we have seen one of our clients do something that was a little crazy and maybe could have been helped if they had known. So tell us your craziest divorce story and maybe some tips or some guidance on whoever's listening this, that they would maybe not go through the same thing. They could dodge it.
Well, I don't know craziest, what you consider craziest, but it just doesn't make sense to me when I have clients that will say, and it doesn't matter if it's a first divorce, second, third. I had one that's going, it's her second divorce, his third, and they don't want to take any money. I just don't understand that. They say, well, especially this one girl, she says it's his third divorce, and so he's paying 2 other exes, and I don't want to, push for any money because he's going to get angry about it, right? But that's on him, right? You were a third wife. That's a marriage, and well, it's really gonna. He's getting angry about it. It's like, then we talk through this. It's like, okay, where are you when you were in this marriage? Maybe you combined money, and now you're out on your own and this person has a business, right? So she's an entrepreneur, and it's like, that money's going to help you, right? And I think, unfortunately, we settle. It's a lot of what happens because we don't want to rock the boat.
Right.
Really
Right.
settle. So it's not. It's really about who you become through it. It's crazy, we might say, and it's about who she becomes through it, and really honor yourself. That
Right.
he's going to have everything, and I'm not going to take what really I deserve or is mine. And
Right.
we really it's like, okay, let's take a deep breath and think through this again.
That is a really good point. And I know myself when I went through my divorce, you kind of just want it all to be over with the least amount of friction. But then the regret sets in when you're on the other side and you're like, gosh, why did I let him, I'm going to say him because it was, why did I let him take advantage of me? Even though I was the one that made the decision, like this lady, she's the one making the decision to walk away from what is rightfully hers just to keep the peace. But then you live with the, why did I do that for the rest of your life? Because now you're in financial trouble and you should have taken more money. So that is really good. That is really, really good advice. Yeah. I mean, now you mentioned, is there a niche that you focus on? Do you only work with women?
I do. Well, that's my preference, is women. I mean, I will work with men. It's just a whole different feel and field in a sense. So I know of a gentleman that is a divorce coach, and I'm really thinking that maybe that's where they need to be, is a guy with a guy. I think that's easier. And you were asking about the Divorce Recovery Reinvention Coach. Because I'm every stage of any divorce. I'm whether it's the contemplating, they're knee deep in a divorce, or they're trying to rebuild after the dust settles, right? You know what that's like. Okay, now. So I want to guide them from overwhelm to unstoppable using, they're so emotional, right? So a blend of emotional coaching, mindset work, even, and again, the physical movement, right, through this is really key. And then help them with their professionals, the law professionals, right? So try to be it seems so weird to say like a secret weapon, but because working with the clients to become clear and focused so that their cases move faster and with less trauma. So that's my niche, is to really help them and their lawyer such that they're so confident and they know what they're doing. Like, yes, I
They're
can do.
prepared.
Yes, they're
Mm-hmm.
prepared, and they've got their shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
They like feel really proud of themselves.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say that is a good feeling.
Yes.
It's almost honestly, I kind of relate it to a child walking into school that's done their homework the night before and a child that walks into school and hasn't. Because, you feel different. When you were a child, if you went in prepared, you were like,
Mhm.
yeah, you'd raise your hand. Yeah, call on me. But if not, you kind of like, scoured down in your desk. And I think it's the same way, and that's good. So that is something that
Mhm.
you help them bring to the table, that it's not thrown on their attorney trying to do this, which, that's not the attorney's job and they don't really have the time to do it. Well, as
Mhm.
I was going through too, I saw some really interesting things. You've really, I want to touch on a few things. One, okay, I had never even heard of a divorce coach back when I had my divorce. Okay. So that's kind of come about. I'm going to be honest. Up until I started doing divorce real estate, when
Mhm.
I heard a divorce coach, I was just like, somebody else to take your money when I already don't have any money, anyway, because now there's two households, so money's tight. But as I have started doing divorce real estate and gotten to know so many of you guys, I am so pro divorce coaching. But explain to people, what is the difference between a divorce? Because you think divorce coach and therapy. Okay, I've already got a therapist. Why do
Mhm.
I need a divorce coach? What is the difference there?
Well, I like to say that it fills a gap. Their office in the courtroom, right? So it's about helping women navigate that emotional chaos that they're already doing and getting to the practical decisions. They don't fall apart mid process because they're a roller coaster, right? And you have those highs and lows, but we want it to get it so that it's a wave. So not get it
Mm-hmm.
really high, really low, and all those emotional things. And it's more of a wave. So even after everything is done, they still feel proud of themselves in the aftermath, right? So it's focusing on how and next, and not only the why. Why are we going through the divorce, but what's happening now and what's coming up next. And therapists, sometimes they like what happened before and kind of going back, but this is all about moving forward. So I want them to know that they're not alone and they don't have to do this alone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Well, okay, so we kind of talked about the movement kind of being a part, but what do you find when you are coaching these women generally? What is one mistake that you see them make that you wish you could have helped them with beforehand?
And I wish that kind of helped me beforehand too. We like to be the peacekeeper. Like I said, we don't want to rock the boat. Like that woman I had mentioned, I don't want to get
Mm-hmm.
angry. It's about, yeah. And we do this at the cost of our own happiness. Don't
Mm-hmm.
speak up. We avoid getting support because we don't bother anybody, or, we just people please all over the place. And I know I did even in my marriage.
Mm-hmm.
And when it came to divorce, I had to think about it differently, which was, I'm glad I did. Kind of got a little angry. It's like, wait a minute, you're not gonna, right? You're not gonna run over me, right? Stand up for me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I want the ladies to know that choosing you is not selfish. It's one of the most important things you can do. Okay? Because nobody else is going to come in and save you. It's about you, right? And if you wait too long for help, thinking, I'll reach out when I'm struggling, I say that when any of this is starting to happen, you're contemplating divorce in the middle of it, is when you need it. When you need it before it does get to be so struggling, because then it's a huge issue and then you're
Right.
trying to backpedal and catch up, right? So, and healing happens a lot faster when you get support early before things
Right.
unravel. Yeah.
I think that is so true. I get asked all the time from attorneys sometimes from people that are divorcing that have not even met with an attorney. And they're like, well, we're not ready to sell our house. And my response is always, bring me in before you get there. because the earlier you can bring me into the process, it's not going to cost you any more for me to come in and do a walkthrough and give you my recommendations. You don't have to do them, but at least my recommendations on what I feel like you might get the greatest rate of, return if you do these small things that aren't going to cost you much money, because I know the market. And so that's probably true when it comes to divorce, being proactive in every area of your life.
Mm-hmm.
It is not going to hurt you, and it's probably going to help you tremendously.
Yeah. And like you said, bringing me in, it isn't going to be more expensive because
Right.
it's going to make things go smoother, less time in everything else. Because if you wait too late, then oh my gosh, everything's
Yeah.
going to be piled up and now we got to figure it all out. But
Right.
soon, yeah.
Exactly. I did not realize how much it really takes a team to get somebody through a divorce. It really does. I mean, if you do it right, and I am not pro divorce. I mean, I am very much pro marriage.
Me too.
But if you have to go through it, do it right. I mean, gosh, not if I had it to do over again, because I
Yeah.
don't want to go through it again, but
Yeah.
I wish I had as much knowledge then as I do now, because I would have definitely handled things financially, mentally, working with you guys. I would have been everywhere, even though it would have probably even put more of a financial strain. The other benefits would have outweighed it. So I would have definitely done that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, is there any, like, when you were talking about, like, why do attorneys love you working with their clients, or working with you? I mean, how do you help them? How do you benefit the attorneys?
Well, it makes the job a lot easier for them because I will take on the emotion, the drama, the stories with my client. Yes, you need somebody to vent with, and you want to make sure that, yeah, they can vent, but let's get to where we need to be. You've got your friends and your family, and that's great, but you really need the third party objective person, to ask the right questions, get that information out. So I can get them prepared to go see the attorney. Like in the beginning, what questions do I ask an attorney? I'm now searching for one, and, helping them with the three most important questions. I mean, there are more. There are
Yeah.
three important ones, right? And so get them stable. So when they go in, they don't melt down in the lawyer's office and spend that time, spend the money that's costing them a lot more
Right. Right.
with someone that doesn't know how to deal with all of that, right?
Right.
So
Right.
I'm that buffer between all the emotions and litigation. It just leads to a better outcome for everyone, and
Right.
and I've had lawyers and financial people go, I don't know how to deal with the emotions. They come in and so I get them ready.
Yeah.
Beforehand. Yeah.
No, that is such that's really good, because I think of, like, kind of the stages, like you're talking about the therapist. They
Hmm.
typically do go back and they try to work out trauma or figure out why you're in the predicament you're in. You kind of are like, okay, well, you're here now, so let's kind of set your goals, where you want to be on the other side of this, and so it's just a very nice progression. And then you have the CDFAs that come along that help with
Hmm.
the money part, that also eliminates a lot of work that an attorney has to do. So that's why I said, really, when your eyes are open to all of this, it all very much makes sense,
Yeah.
in this.
Yeah.
Well, tell me, I see here, I was looking, it says, tell me the difference between surviving divorce and reinventing after it. I love this. Tell me about this.
I know. It's like, I am a survivor, like that song, I am a survivor. Well, surviving means you're still breathing, right? You're still here, okay. But reinventing means you're living, because it's about helping women go from, I don't know who I am anymore, who's going to want me, I'm not worthy, all of that, which, I've heard it, I felt it, going through my own divorce, all of that. But it's like loving who they're becoming. My client's like, I love who I am becoming. Because you were a person before this marriage. And yes, your life got wrapped up in the marriage. But who were you really? And let's reinvent that person, or reinvent who you want to become now. So that's the difference between surviving and breathing and just going and letting life happen, just on.
Right. And that, I think it took me a long time to move from survivor to
Mm,
reinvention because I was doing it on my own. I wasn't in therapy. I didn't have a divorce coach. I was kind of doing it all on my own. And I did it, but I could have moved a
mhm.
whole lot faster and probably
Right.
got to the reinvention stage a whole lot faster if I
Yeah.
had, a life. I mean, not a life. I keep calling you a life coach, but a
It's
divorce
okay.
coach getting through it.
It's okay.
Because all of us just have skills. And I say all the time that everybody cannot be good at everything. We cannot be experts in every field. We just can't, even though we like to think we are. And so the more you allow someone else to step in and help
Mhm.
you and guide you in places that you just do not understand and you're having a hard time getting through. Oh, that's what I said. If I had known you, I would have loved to have been able to hire
Yeah.
you way back when. I think you could have done that old
Mhm.
Lori a whole lot of good.
Well,
So
well, and
yeah.
just like you said, with you becoming a certified divorce real estate expert, me as a divorce coach, it's because as what I feel is like we don't want women to go through what we went through,
Right.
and not to have, like you said, the capability, the people that you need, the team that you need.
Right.
So yeah, and we have our own little niche that
Yeah.
we focus on, and that's why we all need to work together, and it makes that team, that community
Right.
that
I
helps.
agree. I agree. Well, was there anything, did I skip anything, or was there anything else that you can think of that you want to mention that I might have skipped on?
Let's see if there's any. Let's see. I know we talked about the divorce. If you're the one thing that you want to is you're contemplating whatever it is, I want you to bring two things. I want you to bring your truth, where you really are, what you're thinking, even if it's messy or confusing, because sometimes we just don't know where we're at, how we explain it to people. Just bring your truth. And I say bring your goals, but we're going to talk about moving forward, right? Not just should I leave, but what do I want out of this, right? What do I want to create? There's a reason. Sometimes, it's you're initiating it, he's initiating. Maybe you're blindsided by something that happened. Like for me, had an affair, blindsided. It's like, whoa. So bring all that, right? And then we'll just start planning and saying, okay, these are the people we need and how to help you get them, with a house to sell. Of course, I'm going to recommend you and start building that team for them.
Right. Well, what are questions that they should ask a divorce coach to be able to pick the
Yeah.
right one? I mean, is there anything that you would suggest that they ask up front?
For a divorce coach,
Yeah, I mean,
um,
like if they're,
yeah,
they're Googling divorce coaches
yeah,
and you and 12 other people
yeah, right, show
come
up.
up, how do they, if they start making phone calls, is there anything that they should ask, to kind of narrow the field down?
Yeah, that's a great question. So they want to know what's the process. How do you first engage, or what's the team that you use, or how do you work with other people, especially with a team? Like how do you suggest or work with another
Mm-hmm.
team member or community? What do you create? Of course they don't know what they don't know.
Right.
Sometimes they don't know what to ask, but what they should ask is it calm, confident? How do you go about working with your client? Is it questions? What kind of questions do you typically they don't know what to ask, and they ask questions, but I would say that just have that conversation. First of all, are they listening to you?
Mm-hmm.
So say, I'm thinking of going divorce, I'm contemplating divorce. So how do you work with somebody? And then listen to what they're saying. And are they asking me questions, right? So if I'm the client and I'm calling up and I'm saying, what's your process, or how do you work with somebody? And listen to what they're saying. And then are they asking me questions? Like, okay, so where are you at? What's going on in your life? Are you considering it? Are you in the middle of a
Mm-hmm.
divorce? And even after divorce, they'll call it a divorce coach because it's really rough, emotional.
Right.
Just like
Right.
I do too. It's like, what are the next steps?
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
and yeah.
Yeah,
it's
that's
about
good
asking
advice.
the question. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do
Yeah,
you
that's good
feel that?
advice. Just to kind of ask them and then see how they respond to it. And then,
Mhm.
I guess you kind of get a gut feeling. It's kind of like that with a lot of people. You kind of have a gut feeling of whether it's somebody that you want to spend time with, to
Right.
work with, and that type of
Yeah.
thing. So.
Yeah.
Well,
There.
I can't tell you how happy I am that you jumped on here with me today and shared all of your information. And I'm going to put all of your information at the end of this podcast. But
Okay.
just tell us, where they can get in touch with you, like your
Mhm.
website, your email, maybe your telephone number. I'll put it all at the end too. But tell us where they can find you.
Absolutely. And I've enjoyed this. It's been so much fun. So Paula Lesso, Lesso, and it's Paula at paulalesso.com is my email. My website is paulalesso.com and phone number.
Perfect. Well, that's great. And I'll put all that on the outro as we're going out of here. So, well, thank you
Great.
so much. It was so great to talk with you, and I hope to
Me
see you
too.
soon. All right, thanks. Bye.
This podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. Information contained herein is not legal advice. If you need legal advice, please seek an attorney.